going, everybody? You already know what it is, man. I'm your host, Terrence Pitts, a.k.a. Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV. Look who I'm sitting next to.
At least once a year, we're going to do this live, man. We're going to get together at my office, not the studio,
right.
My office and get some things going. How you doing, Pitts?
I'm good, man. It's good to be in the presence.
No doubt.
It's game day.
It's absolutely game day. We're excited about game day, too, man. We got a rival.
Yeah.
St. Francis coming to town. Big game. Our guys are excited about it. St. Francis' record is not indicative of them as a team and indicative of this rival. How hard this game will be fought. Got to definitely play a good game in order to win.
Yeah. And today, you might have to do that by elevating over the winds
no
of the
doubt.
60-degree weather here in Pittsburgh.
It's 55 and it's a little windy out there on the field. Winds rolling around a little bit here on the hill at Joe Walter Stadium. But our guys are excited. Our guys are ready to go.
Listen, all right. So Thursday we kicked off. Walkthrough Friday. How did everything go? How's the guys looking for today?
So far, they look good. Yesterday, the walkthrough went well. The coaches did a good job of taking through the walkthrough. Walkthrough was about 45 minutes, a little longer, but I thought we needed the time to make sure we're preparing our guys in the right format and making sure they're elevating exactly what they need to do and put themselves in a better mindset. Those are the things extremely important. When you start going to games like this, what's the mindset of the guys? Yeah. It was so crazy earlier. I heard Mac Brown talking, the head coach of North Carolina. What he was saying was, when he was at Texas, they won this game and they were feeling good about themselves. And he said, don't let your players eat poison cheese. Don't let the rat eat poison cheese because you start getting excited off that fat cheese and everything. Rather that cheese is poison. So we got to make sure we understand that even though this team is 2-5, this team is coming to play.
Yeah.
And we got to come to play. So that's the thing that's important.
Have there been any setbacks or any players that may not have been looking like they were able to go today that maybe, or were there any setbacks? I know last time we spoke, there was a setback after our interview.
As of right now, none. We thought there was one early in the week with Sean Charles, but everything worked out with Sean. Everything's good to go. So he'll be ready to go. So as far as we know right now, nothing serious. Our O-line has been beat up all year. So it's a situation with them. We got a guy who's playing on hurt or whatever. But again, in football, you're going to have to play hurt.
Right.
You're always going to hurt in football. There's a difference between being injured and being hurt. So we got some guys that are hurt, but they're able to go.
Right. And, we talk about one of the things when it comes to football is still being able to have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are having fun with it. How do you keep that going?
They're finally having fun with it. I think it's more about practice. It's about setting up practice in the right way, not having long practices. A year ago, our practice was probably about 2 hours, 15 minutes. We've limited practice to almost like an hour and 45, hour and 50 minutes. And the reason we've done that is because we can become more efficient.
Okay.
And they can have a good time. They're not out there for a long time. They're out there to make sure that they're efficient in what they're doing. They're out there to make sure they got the right mindset. And mentally, it gets them stronger because they're preparing their minds and they're getting those mental reps that you and I always talk about. So that's the positive thing about what's going on with our team.
Is there ever a way that you can engage or just tell the mindset of your players non-verbally?
Some of them, yes. Some of them you can. A prime example would be our quarterback, Chicken. Chicken's real laid back. Chicken doesn't get excited about much. Chicken don't get upset about much. He's one of those guys that has been through a lot, so he's able to overcome in his mind a lot of mental things. With Chicken, you can't tell if he's high or if he's low, whatever the situation may be. He's just efficient in what he does. Prime example would be one of our games earlier. He throws a pick. Pick goes back to the 1-yard line. I go up to him. He's like, Coach, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Next series, he goes out there. He throws a 60-yard touchdown. So his mindset is always where it needs to be at. So it's hard to tell when he's up or down, but at the same time, he's always where he needs to be at.
When you look at the leaders of your team, are you more of a vocal leader amongst your players or more of a watch me and follow me?
I'm more, when I played, the best way to probably put it, when I played, I was vocal as well as I felt like I could get it done on the field.
Right.
So there's some guys that you feel like they can get it done on the field that may not be vocal, but the players are seeing what they're doing when they're in action. Then there's some guys that have both. So it's hard to say who's a leader, who's not a leader. Like the two guys that are sticking out to me right now on the field, not so much off the field and things like that. Keon Freeman, one of the transfers we got in, middle linebacker, who's playing unbelievable right now. And guys see him playing great. So when they see him playing great, when he says something, it means more. Right. And you may have a guy who's not playing, like prime example is Noah. Noah's been playing great for the last 2 years. People just see Noah smiling all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what guys get excited about when they see Noah. Noah doesn't say a whole lot, but he performs. And so guys see him as a leader because of what he's able to do on the field. Not only that, he's doing great in the classroom.
Yeah.
Both those guys are. So when it comes to those things, that's the tough part about it. Do you want a guy that's more vocal? Do you want a guy? I want a guy kind of that's both.
Okay.
I want a guy that's able to perform on the football field, because if you're performing, now you can say something.
Right.
If you're not performing, it's going to be hard for the guys to buy into what you're saying. To me, the most important thing about being a leader is being a leader worth following.
Okay.
And so that's the thing that's important. If you're not a leader worth following, will the guys follow you? So.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, you're right. Especially consistently.
Yes.
You know, now if a player have a one-off, you know, but they know the pedigree of that player, I definitely think it varies on the person and that leader. The reason why I ask is just, you know, when we talk about leadership qualities, sometimes leadership qualities don't. Some people are better at doing it, while others is more so at saying it. And I think for me, it's checking the temperament of the environment of the group that you're leading to know and determine whether or not you have a group that is a nonverbal group or if you have a group that is a verbal group.
Yes.
Because you could be a leader non-verbally, but they may not reciprocate, or they may not be able to, they don't grasp it in the manner. Some people like to be like, look, you know, kicking the butt. What are we doing? Get it up.
Absolutely.
Today against St. Francis, you know, you guys are undefeated. You know, you talk about elevating their mindset, elevating their communication, elevating their from the practice field to the game field, and not allowing the moment to get too big, and not overlooking their opponent.
100%. And that's exactly what you need to do as a head coach. The thing I need to help these guys understand is we got to go 1-0. Let's not get caught up in who we played or who we're playing.
Yeah.
And understand that. I guess a prime example of that, like we talked about, it would be the Kennesaw Liberty game. You know, a situation that where Kennesaw went in there 0-6 and Liberty's 5-0. So you can't overlook anyone. Yeah. Every opponent is important. Don't overestimate or underestimate any opponent. That thing's extremely important for us. But again, we can always refer back to what game? The Edinburgh game.
Yeah.
You know, where we went in and Edinburgh had an unbelievable game plan and they played it to the T.
Yes.
And they did a great job and they ended up winning the football game because of what they were capable of doing. We had a game plan, but we didn't play it to the T. We didn't play the way we were capable of playing. Right. And we ended up losing the football game. So our guys have to understand that those things can happen if you're not focused, if you don't have the right mindset, if you're not elevating your game each and every week to get ready for the opponent that's coming in, because it's not about who's the best team, it's about who plays the best on Saturday.
Any given day.
any day.
When you woke up this morning and you being a defensive guy, you got a conference opponent coming in. I know last games, you know, you had an idea what you wanted, but it seemed like the coach had the same idea that they wanted. When it comes to setting the tone for you today, what is your preference for who takes the field first?
I want the defense. I want the defense to be on the field first. I want them to be on the field just because of how they finished the game last week. I know our offense put the icing on the cake with the 86-yard pass to Sean Charles, but our defense was able to have a goal line stand from the 10-yard line to keep them out of the end zone. Okay. I want them to build on that this week. I want them to understand that the importance of defense, the importance of stopping them every single time. So if we have an opportunity, we want the defense to go first.
In your meeting with the guys today, you know, what are some of the key points that you want to touch up on in regards to their mental preparation for this game?
The biggest thing is exactly what you and I just talked about, making them understand that it doesn't matter what this opponent's record is. They're a rival. It doesn't matter what we did last week. It only matters what we do this Saturday. We'll be ready for the game this Saturday. Again, don't eat the poison cheese. Don't get caught up in, you know, that fat rat eating poison cheese and realize that if I keep reading clippings, I keep talking about how great we are and things like that, it may not work out for us. So we've got to make sure we stay focused. We elevate our game from what it was last week, and we have the proper mindset when we step on that football field.
It's interesting that you say that, Coach, when you talk about, you know, when your team is having success, right, and not wanting them to get beyond the success as far as pride, you know, egos and, you know, just over elation. How do you balance? Because you definitely want to commend them for the job well done, but then you also want them to stay even keel. So how is that balance? Like, how did you find what that balance is for your team?
Basically, to be honest with you, it's more about what's been instilled in me when I played at the University of Miami. We never got caught up in national championship. We never got caught in. We got caught up in the process of achieving those things. And what I try to get our guys to understand is, let's get caught up in the process of how you achieve those things, not those things being achieved. Yes, that's the goal, but don't worry about the goal right now. Let's worry about how we're going to reach that goal. What's the process in reaching that goal? And those are the things I try to help our guys understand. Those are the things I try to help our guys buy into, the fact that, hey, we're looking at the process of this. So each game leads to what we ultimately want, but we got to make sure we take care of each game.
When you talk chemistry in regards to a team, and we're talking offense, defense, special teams, and one of the things we talked about last year, we really haven't touched on this year, was the communication between the guys in game, on sideline. The encouragement that they give to one another. How has that played out for you guys?
Actually been well, to be totally honest with you. It's not all rah-rah and things like that. A prime example would be last week when we played the game at LIU and the defense gave up points and they allowed them to come back and take a lead. Not one time was there bickering. No one was bickering about anything. No one was upset each other. All they were saying is, hey, guys, we got this. Let's make sure our mind stays where it's supposed to be. We got this. Defense, we need one stop. Get the ball back to the offense. They can punch it in. So their mindset is just different this year. Just the way they're focused on the game. Again, they're not rah-rah and screaming and hollering. There's a little bit of that on the sideline. Obviously, you make a big play.
Right.
But it's more about being focused on the next play. What do we need to do to win this football game?
In games where you may have a win factor, it's not that much win today, right? But when you have games where element weather plays a part of it, how important is those red zone, those red zone efficiencies and those red zone attempts to get the touchdowns versus field goals?
Especially with the wind the way it is right now, the wind whistles on our field. It goes around in a circle. Sometimes it's blowing this way, sometimes blowing that way. It blows on us, it can reverse itself. So it's extremely important. But we can't come away from the end zone, red zone, empty either. So obviously, the closer we get, the more we want to get the field goal. But you always want the 6. You always want those 6 points. You don't want to, keep kicking field goals all day long. Even though field goals win football games, just make sure we understand
those are points as well.
Make sure we're good there. But you want to make sure, especially like you said, with the elements the way they are, you want to make sure you're punching that thing in the end zone. And that's something I'm also going to talk to the players about when we talk at game time.
And I was going to say, one of those things are, when we get there, it's like that analogy, right? You work so hard to get to that goal, and now you're there, finish it off.
Yes, and that's, again, it goes back to, it's the process. It's not about, the goal to achieve. It's what you're going to do to achieve that goal. And guys understand this is a certain process to winning football games. We got to make sure we win it's one play at a time, one down at a time. Make sure let's take care of this play. Okay, have that short-term memory, like we tell defensive backs all the time. If you get beat for a touchdown, doesn't matter, because we got 60+ minutes. The game can only be won in the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter how many points you have in the first, and second, and third. The game can only be won in the fourth quarter. So we got to make sure that we're winning the fourth quarter and putting ourselves in position to win the fourth quarter.
Do you believe that players react to the way their coaches react
100%.
In adverse situations?
100%.
If you panic, they panic.
100%. There's no doubt about it. It's no different than everybody was asking, who's your get back coach? We don't have one. You know why we don't have a get back coach? Because as long as the coaches aren't walking on the field and they stay on the sideline and stay out of the white, so will the players. It's just that simple. How you react is based on how they react. I truly believe that more than anything else. If you're constantly bickering with the referees and screaming at the referees, what do you think they're going to do on the field? The same exact thing. So I don't get into arguments with the referees, because the one thing I understand about this over anything, it's still a game.
Yeah.
It's all about having fun. It's all about enjoying what you do. I still enjoy watching football. Ever since I was a kid, I've enjoyed watching football. And I understand that. And the referees have a job to do. Are they going to make mistakes? Yes, they're going to make mistakes. But me yelling and screaming and making it to a game-long thing doesn't make any sense. They're going to have bad moments. That's what I'm going to have, a bad moment. So we don't make it a bad minute, a bad hour, and when you're getting all upset and blown out of proportion, because now your players have lost their mindset. The last thing they're worried about now is they're worried about what the ref's going to say, as opposed to just playing the game. Hey, let's play the game. Let's have a good time.
Coach, he popped the song in my head when he said "Get Back." I thought of Ludacris. Get back. You don't know me like that. Well, Coach, here it is, 2 p.m. game day. We're here, Joe Walton Stadium, Robert Morris University versus St. Francis. Hey, Coach, go
Hey,
ahead.
man, let's get it done. It's going to be a great day. We're going to play hard. We're going to do what we need to do to make sure this process goes in the right direction. So let's go, Bobby Mo.
It's so much different when it's in person, right? It just hit different when it's in person. You already know what it is, man. I'm your host, Terrence Pitts, aka Pitts, Pitts Sports Zone, Bowie TV, Pitts and Pitts Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live from Joe Walton Stadium. A lot of content coming to you. Stay tuned. Go Colonials.
Much love.